Hey, this is Rick, and welcome to Spit Take Presents Shooting Star Press, the morning after Raw. And I'm gonna go ahead and do a rundown of Raw and give my review of everything going on. Talk a little bit about what I've seen from people's opinions of the Vince McMahon fiasco and Vince McMahon-less WWE. Raw started out with CM Punk kind of addressing the crowd. CM Punk comes out with a sling on. He basically talked about how he's unlucky. Said he's going to keep going till the wheels come up. I mean, the guy's getting up there in age. He can't stay healthy. He keeps getting injured between now WWE, AEW. It seems like every match he's getting injured. But of course he's a Cubs fan. I know I got the Cubs behind me, but that's because I got every Chicago team. My team's actually the White Sox. Still wants to live his dream of main eventing WrestleMania. Will TKO allow him to do that? Good question. Well, he said maybe. Well, he said there's always next year, as the Cubs would say. He talked about how he was unsuccessful in the UFC, which he was incredibly unsuccessful and didn't belong there. Then Drew McIntyre came out, and McIntyre basically was pissed that Punk eliminated him and was happy that Punk was injured. I guess he's playing a little bit of a heel angle. And he's going to find his way into the world title match and live Punk's dream. So I guess they're setting up a Punk McIntyre feud. Punk's the baby face. Basically, McIntyre attacks Punk. Zayn comes out to save him. McIntyre retreats. And, Zayn and Punk are friends. I thought it was a good little segment. Sets up the McIntyre-Zayn match for later that day. Good promo from Punk. Of course, who knows how long it's going to take, since it sounds like we're leaning towards surgery for Punk. How long can we go with Punk getting injured and surgeries and stuff like that? I don't know, man. It's time to call it quits for me. You don't need to do this anymore if you can't stay healthy. You're done. You ain't Ric Flair. You know what I mean? Maybe you're a little more reckless than you need to be. Maybe you change your style or something. Next, basically Rhea Ripley was given Judgment Day the rundown, and they're like, nobody's coming after us and our titles. And that's basically what the segment was about. And if Bayley comes after us, it's their funeral. But I don't know. That's a weird, Bayley's team's all women. Maybe they need some guys to go against Damage Control. But we'll talk about that in a little bit, because that was interesting, the whole woman's title picture thing, to tell you the truth. We'll talk about that in a little bit. DIY comes out, talks about how they've waited 7 years for this opportunity to fight for the WWE tag team match. They've dreamed about this, and they have a good little match with Finn Balor and Damian Priest, the Money in the Bank, Senor Money in the Bank. And it was a good match. I thought it was a really nice match. Hopefully they do win it. I think they need to go on a run too bad. I mean, obviously, they have to keep them together because they aren't doing much as singles competitors. They're definitely better together, but it's not time to take it away from Judgment Day. Judgment Day is hot right now. You have to keep it on Judgment Day right now. So Judgment Day wins it. Priest gives Ciampa the Rager's Edge. Finn Balor immediately follows up with a vicious coup de grace for the win. And like I said, I actually really like this match. There's a lot of good back and forth. I like all four of these competitors. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." Then R-Truth comes down, and R-Truth has some words, and basically R-Truth thinks he's part of the team, and Priest says, "You're not part of the team," and then they kick his ass. Long story short, poor R-Truth. The beating R-Truth was pretty well done. You got to feel bad for R-Truth. R-Truth is a fan favorite. The Miz comes down, helps R-Truth. You got to think there's going to be an R-Truth Miz tag team feud match at Elimination Chamber. Next, we got a tag match: Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark versus Chelsea Green and Piper. Blah. Didn't really care. I don't even think I watched it. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark won. I wouldn't have known. I don't even think I paid attention. Or it just happened before I even knew it. It was so fast. And then Cody Rhodes comes out and he addresses winning the Rumble. This was a great segment here because Cody comes out, starts talking, and then Seth freaking Rollins comes out and says that he thinks that Cody needs to go after his World Heavyweight Championship, not the Undisputed Championship that Roman Reigns holds. Basically because Roman Reigns holds the Hollywood Championship, the Hulk Hogan Championship, the Political Championship, and Seth Rollins holds the Blue Collar Championship. The championship, the Workhorse Championship, the Dusty Rhodes Championship. And Cody Rhodes says he's going to give it some time to think about it. And I really like that. I thought that was great. I think Cody Rhodes still takes on Roman Reigns because that was the championship his father reached for. He is the good guy reaching for the top of the mountain. He is the Dragon Slayer, slay the dragon. That's my perception, that Cody Rhodes is here to be the top guy, the man. He's here to be the man. And I'm sorry, like, Roman Reigns is the man. He's the one that's held that title for over 3 years. Yes, we're getting a little tired of the whole Solo coming in and Jimmy coming in and interfering. It's getting old. But it just seems to me like he's here to slay the dragon. He's here to enhance his father's legacy. To do what his father couldn't do. And to turn that title into what his father was supposed to do. I don't think we need any more combining of titles. Here's my thing. Why do we have undisputed titles? Let's stop combining like turn 2 titles into 1 title, please. Like, enough with this carrying 2 titles around. That's enough. Like, the 2 tag titles, like, why? Like, separate them. I wonder what they're doing with them. I think they're waiting till everything's organized. They got the Netflix deal, yada yada yada, which is going to come out next year. I think TKO is consolidating plans. Kofi Kingston, he's getting ready to fight Gunther. He's talks about how he's going to be the 5-time Intercontinental Champion, which I think Kofi Kingston at this stage of his career is more the guy to put the other guy over. Next is Jey Uso with Bronson Reed. And Bronson Reed has a new Titantron video where he's like, Godzilla. This is my Godzilla thing. This is Godzilla. And he's smashing buildings and stuff like that. And if you listen to mine and Zach's pre and post shows, Zach kind of talked about how Jey Uso does have the crowd in the palm of his hand. And this kind of shows it. This has showed it over and over again. Jey Uso wins with the splash, and the crowd is going wild for Jey. I think Jey is a star. Probably deserves a real good singles run with a title. U.S. title, something. I think he deserves a good U.S. title run. Tell you the truth. I say not Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens had enough titles. Let's give Jey Uso a good run. He deserves it. The next we got Kofi Kingston and the Ring General. I can't do it as good. It started off slow. I get tired of these commercial breaks during the match, but I watched the match while the commercial break's going on. It was a pretty good match, though. Good ending. Gunther with the win. Gunther continues his strength. Gunther's gonna keep going, keep tearing through the roster, and I ultimately think it should be Gunther for the heavyweight championship at WrestleMania, or no, it's probably going to be Gunther losing the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Maybe kind of starting his main event run of the future. I think Gunther's eventually going to be a main eventer, or in the main event picture. I think the main event picture is kind of crowded right now. The upper card, main event card is kind of crowded. So, there's a lot going on. Maybe, that's why you got 2 titles, 2 shows. Real quick, please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow Spit Take Podcast, and listen to us. We come out with new episodes every Friday everywhere you get podcasts, and listen to our new videos. I'm going to start recording Raw morning after, hopefully morning after SmackDowns, and we're going to be post pay-per-view podcast, me and Zach, and every 2 weeks we're going to be doing a live podcast on wrestling. And then next you got a non-title match, women's tag team titles, the Kabuki Warriors and Natalya and Tegan Nox. This was a match. It was there, and Tegan Nox is Tegan Nox. She's a thing. She's a thing. She's Tegan Nox. Poor Natalya. She's just in the company. Natalya's in the company still. And she's there with Tegan Knox. That's what I could say about her. And the Kabuki Warriors win. Natalia's just there as an enhancement talent. She's just there to get paid and put people over. What a life. She must love that life, just to get paid and put people over. She's like a jobber. She's the Brooklyn Brawler, essentially. Hanging out with Tegan Knox. That's the thing about these female wrestlers sometimes. I just... Like, the good female wrestlers are really good, but the ones I don't care about, I just don't care about. And then you got Natalya, who I care about, but then they don't do anything with, you know? But Natalya's been there forever. But it is what it is. And then he had Bayley address the crowd with Damage Control. And she was going to name who's going to be who she's going to wrestle at WrestleMania for the which women's title she's going to go after. Whether it was going to be Io Sky or whether it was going to be Rhea Ripley. Well, at first it sounded obvious that she was going to go after Rhea Ripley. And Rhea Ripley came out and Rhea Ripley was getting in her face. The Nia Jax came out and just tore up Rhea Ripley and got in Bayley's face and said, "This is mine. That's mine. That's my title." And Bayley said, "I'm gonna announce it on Friday." And Io Sky looked confused. Even though I don't think she knows the English. Or I'm unsure that she knows English. I'm really unsure that she knows English. I'm not being racist. I really don't know if she knows English. So, as predicted before, it sounds like Bayley's probably going to wrestle Io Sky. Nia Jax probably going after Rhea Ripley. Even though Nia Jax got manhandled by Jade Cargill at Royal Rumble. And then next we got Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre, which was a pretty damn good match, I must say so myself. Good main event. McIntyre won with kind of a low blow, but they were saying, did he do it on purpose? All he was doing was covering his face so he wouldn't get kicked. But, why is Sami Zayn kicking him in the head with his crotch? It was a weird spot. This is where wrestling don't make sense. He's kicking him in the head, and he kicked him in the head with his crotch. And we don't know if McIntyre did it on purpose where he covered his head so he didn't get kicked in the head. Did he do it on purpose? What? He's getting kicked in the head. He's covering his head. It was just a weird spot. But McIntyre is a good heel. I do like what they're doing with him. I thought this was a good show for a Fallout Royal Rumble show. A lot of questions to be answered still, but there's a lot, a month before Elimination Chamber. I'd like to get some answers of who's going to be in Elimination Chamber, but hopefully SmackDown will give some more answers. So we'll wait for that. Alright, next. This was a McMahon-less Raw. And as most of you probably know by now, a young lady, I don't know how young she is, by the name of Janelle Grant, filed a lawsuit a few days ago, came out a while ago actually, a couple of years ago? Well, it came out a couple years ago that Vince McMahon did all these sexual misconduct things to her. But recently, these text messages that supposedly came out from Vince McMahon Still not confirmed that they came out from Vince McMahon, but there's a big fallout, so apparently people think it came from him. And I've been listening to a lot of different podcasts and stuff like that. People from the in the know, close to Vince McMahon, that have known him over the years. What are people in the business, what they've had to say. There are some people that haven't known Vince McMahon. There are people just reporting in the dirt sheets what they've had to say. Basically, this lady signed an NDA saying she wouldn't say anything about all this, and then Vince McMahon paid $1 million and stopped paying. And then she decided she was gonna speak and tell all and sue for another $2 million because she's accusing him of sexual assault and sex trafficking. And there is a lot of accusations going on here. So if you don't know, McMahon, according to the Wall Street Journal, lured her with promises of career advancement, then allegedly exploited her and trafficked her to other men inside the company. Now, according, this is from like Jim Cornette and some other people I've heard. Traffic's a big word, and this is from other people, not from me. So this isn't my opinion, and I'm not giving an opinion. So I don't want anybody, I'm remaining unbiased. She was being paid to go have sex with men or send pictures to men, but she wasn't being forced. But calling it forced doesn't make it. She was taking payment. So some people are saying that is not trafficking. But these headlines are calling it trafficking. They're saying these aren't trafficking and sexual assault, because she was there for over a year doing this. Agreed to pay $3 million for her. He agreed to pay $3 million to her relationship to disparage him. He retired from the WWE in 2022 following reporting by the Journal that revealed payouts of multiple women who had alleged sexual misconduct. I mean, this ain't the only person. And we know that, Mr. McMahon's been accused of other things, the steroid trials and other things. So we're not saying he's an innocent man. We don't know. Has he been proven guilty of anything in the court of law? No. Does that mean he's not guilty of anything? No, because money talks too. Money buys you the best lawyers. Billionaires can get away with a lot of stuff. So there's two sides of this coin. Investigation found $14.6 million in payments by the CEO to women who had accused him of sexual misconduct out of roughly $20 million that should have been booked as business expenses. So that's illegal right there, right? Like, whether or not it was consensual, he's just giving $14.6 million away for sex in business expenses. That's illegal. Like, that's basically, whether it's consent or not, that's prostitution, if you want to call it that. If it's consent, that's illegal. So it's like, that's inappropriate employee-boss relationship, ownership relationship at the very least. Criminal misconduct, however you want. But the dude's over 70. And if you look at these text messages, they're disgusting. And I got them on my Facebook, or not my Facebook, my Twitter page, at LBRT Social Work. If you go down my Twitter page, I did share them from Wrestling Observer. In the middle of Another workday on June 23rd, 2021, McMahon locked Grant inside his private locker room at WWE's offices and forced himself on her over a massage table. The suit said later that day, McMahon's personal assistant delivered $15,000 in Bloomingdale gift cards to Grant in her office. So, I heard them talking about this on a podcast, and it's like, okay, what they said was this was a year after Vince McMahon greeted her in his boxers and hugged her repeatedly, offering her a job. Did that not throw up any red flags to begin with? Now, I saw another podcast where a lady said that, well, this was coercion, power, and control. So he was coercing her. So it's two things. It's either she's being coerced or she had a choice. And one person saying she doesn't have a choice, and one person saying she does have a choice. One side saying a grown woman does not have a choice. One side is saying a grown woman doesn't have a choice. This isn't whether or not this is illegal or not, because there's definitely legality involved. This is about whether this is sexual assault and sex trafficking or not. And that comes down to, did this woman have a choice? Did this woman have a choice of going to the police? Did the woman have a choice of quitting the company? And if she was brainwashed or coerced, if that makes sense, then okay. That's what one side of the aisle says. The other side of the aisle says she's an autonomous being who can make their decisions, and they chose $15,000 of Bloomingdale gift cards. What can you get for $15,000? I don't even know what Bloomingdale is. I am not rich enough to go to Bloomingdale's. Let's see here. Oh, look at that. Perfumes, lingerie. So she can go buy all these shoes. $15,000 of perfume, watches, necklaces, beauty products, handbags. So I'm looking at the Bloomingdale, and she chose, instead of going to the police for being locked up in a private room over a massage table, she chose to buy shoes and clothing and handbags. That is one side of the aisle is saying that she chose to do that. The other side of the aisle is saying she was coerced into buying shoes and totes and handbags and dresses. Okay. I don't know. Brandt alleged McMahon shared nude photos and explicit videos of her without consent with other WWE employees, unnamed executives and stars, and directed her to have sex with them. The suit cited a July 2020 text that said others at WWE wanted to have sex with her after seeing photos on McMahon's phone, and the group laughed when he told them she may scream and try to say no, although it would be difficult to say anything with a C down her throat. If a 70-year-old man shows me a picture of a woman and says I'm having sex with her, I'm not going to be like, I want sloppy seconds on that. I mean, you're old, dude. I don't want your sloppy seconds. There's something wrong with these people. If that's really happening, all these executives and WWE stars are, ugh. I don't get people. But like, one side of the aisle saying, and that was after a year she's taken Bloomingdale gift cards or coerced and to taking Bloomingdale gift cards for taking this kind of abuse. Alright, so the story I heard before was like her parents went bankrupt and died. But this is what people told me. What I'm seeing here is Grant's lawsuit alleged that she met McMahon in March 2019 after an introduction from a manager in her apartment building. McMahon lived in a penthouse of the same building, and Grant was looking for a job after her parents died. This is a apartment building in like Connecticut, right? Like that McMahon owns. A place where same place where McMahon owns. You know, people are saying she's down on her luck. I'd want to know the whole story. Like, there's a lot of story I don't know with this. And I'm not saying, like I said, I'm remaining unbiased. Another, I heard, like, Disco Inferno made a good point. Like, they're talking about McMahon's text messages, but, like, what's her replies in these text messages? Did they show her replies? Was she like, okay, baby? Or was she like, oh, that's disgusting? Like, was she coerced into saying, okay, baby, give me some Bloomingdale gift cards? Or was she like, that's gross, I'm calling the police? You know, I want to know more about what's going on, because I want proof that she said, no, leave me alone. 2, I'm not saying I don't believe her. I'm just saying I want to know the whole story. And I feel like I'm getting bits and pieces of this story. It talks about, and of course it talks about, he began sharing sexually explicit photos and videos of Grant with other men, including WWE executives and a former UFC champion with whom WWE is actively trying to sign to new contract, according to the suit. McMahon defecated on her head during a threesome, which, you know, I've talked about that in the podcast, which will come out this Friday. Spit Take podcast every Friday comes out. It's up right now on everywhere you get podcasts. And of course, like, I know her mental and physical health has deteriorated. Like, whether or not she's coerced or not, her mental health is screwed up. And he took her to an alternative clinic. Like, take her to a real clinic. Why did she go to a surgeon? McMahon was recruiting people to have sex with her, including John Laurinaitis, the Bella twins' mother's husband, who was flying out to the hotel from Florida to have sex with her in a hotel in Connecticut. I left the hotel feeling bad about myself every time. Yeah? I don't blame you. For sure. McMahon Laurinaitis started her in a lower level position, but promised that she would soon be promoted to vice president, and the suit said. So, yeah, and if you look at the texts are very disgusting. It's a 7-year-old man basically saying, I own you, and saying these disgusting things that you don't want your grandpa to be saying to women. And it's weird. This is weird, dude. It's just weird people that I don't want to be around. But these are the people that made my childhood reality. Not John Laurinaitis. But anyways, what do you think about all this? I'd be interested to know. Do you think, you know, what's your take on all this? What was your take on Raw? What is your take on McMahon, John Laurinaitis, Brock Lesnar? I'd be interested in what you have to say. What do you think's going to happen in Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania? Please check us out everywhere where you find your podcast. Check out my podcast, Warriors Respite, every week. Check out our other videos on YouTube and Rumble, everywhere where you find your social media. Level up, guys.